That's right, yo, I am Gucci back again on Zombie Nation. Coast to Tisy. It's happening this time. One life, one run. Let's do this. So, just like the previous attempt to make it to Tisy from the coast in one run and one life, we start off in Chernogorsk. The start is going to be very similar to the previous video, although I am going to go into the military just north of my spawn and go from there. This is a low tier military, so I am not expecting much. Of course, to make things a little more interesting, we've got a lawbreaker smack bang in the middle of Chernogorsk military. Chances are they have all of the loot, but you never know. You might walk into a bloodbath and just come out with all the loot, so fingers crossed. Not too surprising, but it was always worth a look. Next up is the PD, where we're hoping to find some basics. Pistol, ammo, stab vest, gloves, or if lucky, that elusive shotgun. It is worth killing the infected wearing police uniform if you can, as they can often have useful items like ammo or a knife. But at this early stage, it's not a good idea to be taking too many hits, so isolate them where possible, or if it's just not possible, trap them in a building for another freshie to find. With the doors open, the place looked looted, and it was, so it's onwards to the hospital. Here we are looking for, most importantly, a bandage or two, then ideally some NBC clothing, gas mask filters, a 100-slot medical bag, and even the standard paramedic jacket, as it's one of the best vanilla civilian clothing items you can find this early on. So not a bad start. Found some better clothing, 2 medical bags, 1 to keep on us and 1 for a stash, NBC gloves, NBC hood, 2 gas mask filters. It looks like I'm looting the same area twice here, but there was a restart while I was in the hospital, so I felt it was worth looking again. The cars, kiosks, garages and houses opposite sport medical loot, so they are worth checking as well. The fire station can also spawn NBC clothing, gas mask filters and a fire axe for killing the infected. They also normally have at least 1 infected wearing the NBC suit. It's worth doing humanity a favour and trying to kill this guy, as hopefully you'll find a filter or a cure on their body. This goes for any infected wearing an NBC suit, whether it's a hospital, fire station or within the toxic zone. There is a chance that you are going to find either a filter or a cure, which can come in very handy. So we've added NBC pants to our collection of Tisy essentials, plus a fire axe that is going to help us on our journey. It's now time to leave a stash in the woods before heading into Balota, where hopefully we'll be finding a gun, mags, ammo, better clothing and a better bag. Militaries are also the best bet for a gas mask that requires filters, so we could do with picking one of these up here nice and early. Okay, that was pretty trouble free. Came out of there with some guns, mags, ammo, a filter and crucially some gas masks. As you can see, I'm just grabbing stuff like it's a Black Friday sale and there's an hour to go. I was pretty sure I didn't have any mags that suited the guns I found, but that was just down to my lack of knowledge of the SOC 94. I holed up in a nearby garage just to get rid of what I didn't need and organise myself before grabbing my stash, which a lawbreaker did seem to be very close to. This can be dangerous, not just the lawbreaker themselves, but also mistaken identity, which can happen a lot with twitchy trigger fingers on the server. After some more loot Tetris, it was time to head north to Novy. Can be quite a useful military which doesn't have a red zone, so it's low risk. If you can isolate the infected with military uniform, they are worth taking out to get some ammo from their corpses. After Novy, it was time to trek to Boar, dodge some wolves, kill some infected for some food before setting off for Pavlovo. Fun fact for Boar, found a car in each of the last 3 wipes in this neglected town, so come the next wipe, maybe pay it a visit. So made our way over to Pavlovo town to leave a stash before going into the military nearby. Another one of my favourite stash spots, the stairs to nowhere. A couple of wipes ago I had a locker in the same house in Vybor, which was there for over a month. Maybe it lasted the whole wipe. I eventually stopped going back to it and totally forgot about it. Oh wow. At this point, I just wanted to get out of here. I felt rusty starting this adventure and this wasn't going well at all. I think I've been knocked uncon about 3 times in the wipe until this day, and they were all caused by our hideous base lag. There was no lag here. The server was running fine, internet running fine. Yo, I am Gucci.exe not responding. Overall, just relieved to get back to the stash in one piece. Absolutely no idea how I didn't end up with wound infection, as I got truly battered by the infected. I get the feeling players still think that Pavlovo is similar to vanilla and other servers with a static toxic zone, but it's not, so yeah, run in there, go wild. Next, I'm heading down southwest of the map to Tisy. Yeah, not sure how to say Tikilialiv. Feel free to put in comments how you say that one phonetically. I'm English, can barely speak English, I'm not going to be able to say that word. Anyway, despite being on the coast, this spawns very high tier loot and is well worth a visit. It does come at a price. Even without an airdrop, you can still have bears for company down here. Plus wolves. Lots of wolves. This is why it's worth coming to Tisy. While most players make their bases middle to north of the map, and me included, places like this remain unlooted with some of the best guns on the server. The 6B23 vest in my opinion is one of the best on the server. We've got a ballistic helmet which we've had since Balota, and now we're just one PKM mag and one gun cleaning kit away from having the firepower for a trip into any military on the map and being able to hold our own. Killing a stag on the way out meant we have enough food for the rest of this adventure. Now it's time to head up the west of the map, find a house on the way to cook the meat up, and hopefully find the gun cleaning kit at the hunting stand that's just near Mosquito. Food cooked, inventory organised, and it was time to move on. Along the way I catch sight of smoke from a heli crash. Normally I only really approach these if I've heard the crash, but with this being the quieter side of the map, I felt confident enough to take a closer look. Heli crashes for me can be just 50-50, it's always one extreme to the other in terms of what you find, but to make it in and out of Tisy we were going to need more than what we had. So I didn't really find what I needed from the hunting stands just being Moschino military. I did try to make a brief stop off in Moschino town, but in about the last hour I was stalked by 5 packs of wolves. Which is great, free food and pelts for the trader if you're out to make money hunting, but these are just wasting my ammo. The ledge of these houses are very useful to avoid attacks. Even a bear can't get you from this position. Quick run into Prostoshka to check out the free military car wrecks, and along we go. Now we're moving into Vybor. Due to the gear I have, I am only interested in the military car wrecks and the hospital, before making my way into Lopatino, as all I need now is a gun cleaning kit and some more MBC clothing. Given what happened on my last attempt, I was not going to get involved in this one. Judging by the bodies in the road, he was doing a good job anyway. I try not to leave too much evidence of my presence in towns, especially when solo, and this is why I'm favouring melee attacks over shooting. If I do need to shoot, I take that as time to go. Robberies are obviously an option on this server and totally within the rules. It's always best to record it doing so. I did consider this, but a freshie top with a top hat on can only have my respect. It also defeats the point of this video if I ride my way into Tisy on a stolen ATV. Our group also has too many cars, we just had another one go, and getting another one in really wasn't going to help. I mean, that would have been too easy. After this visit to the Vybor hospital, all I needed now was a gun cleaning kit. We've now got the ZombieNation NBC pants, an NBC jacket and another bandage. Now time for Lopatino. Just a quick stop into Lopatino to check the 2 military shipping containers in Big Red Tin. Then off to the hunting stand near Babalovo and Biathlon. There is also a hospital which is worth checking if you need that missing piece to the NBC puzzle. but I just want a gun cleaning kit for the PKM. I've got two chances, these hunting stands here, or there's more not too far away by Biathlon. Pretty much could have got a full NBC kit from this hospital alone, which is very unusual, especially considering doors open suggested someone had been here recently. Now onto the hunting stands, where it was fingers crossed for a gun cleaning kit, the final piece I needed. So there we have it, not one but two gun cleaning kits. Now it's time to leave a stash in the thick woodland of Tisy before going into the highest tier loot zones on the server. There is no point taking anything with you in here that you don't need. Fill up on food and drink because you'll be doing neither with a mask on. Not all of Tisy is toxic, and I'll attempt to show you. There is some pretty obvious clues, the green smoke for one, but also the type of infected you see. The infected will chase you from one zone to the other, but it does serve as an indicator. Obviously those in the NBC gear, it's a toxic zone, and those in the military gear, you're probably right to take your mask off if you're really desperate for food and drink. I like to keep the replacement filters in the bottom of my bag so it's easier to switch them out. I also hotkey at least two filters so I can see how long they have left without needing to go into my inventory and scroll down to find it. Just make sure the right filters are hotkeyed, otherwise you could be in a bit of bother. I believe each filter is about 15 minutes, so it's plenty of time to get out the toxic zone, unless of course you've been cornered by bears, wolves, infected or players. Some will make the mistake of ditching their ballistic helmet or combat helmet too early or entirely. An NBC hood in a non-toxic zone is not going to stop a bullet, especially in the higher caliber territory of Tisy. So make the switch when it's safe to do so, and then switch back again when it's wise to do so. I like to tidy up my markers before going into any red zone. I try to keep things simple with single letters. T for tents, another location I want to visit, I just use A, and normally I have my route A, B, C. In, go where I want to go, get out. Having your 14 base raid locations and or trader across your screen hiding a player taking aim at you isn't a good idea. As always, an indicator to tell you players are in the area or not is the infected. I do try to kill them quietly and not out in the open, so in the back of tents or in woodland somewhere. Yep, briefly considered loot Tetris. Nope, just move on. With a few suspect open doors, I'm now looking for some evidence of players. I'm looking for some dead infected, maybe dead wildlife like wolves, as the buildings with open doors were all open. Going to do a quick check of the tents before venturing into a neglected part of Tisy. From here onwards, we're no longer in toxic territory, so put that ballistic or combat helmet back on and remove your filter. Here we have the neglected part of Tisy. I think only once have I ever seen evidence of another player here, and even then that could have been a teammate. All of these buildings spawn loot, including the big radar dish building. I don't think this area spawns the highest grade loot, like the toxic part of Tisy does, but still you can find really high tier loot here. By this point I had pretty much filled up on loot, and I still had 2 bags stashed away which I had no chance of having room for. It was time to get out of here. Having made it back to my stash and sorted out all the riches from this journey, it was time to head out and enjoy the delights of the magic mushroom. So at this point I feel like I should give a health warning. If you have epilepsy or seriously psychedelic colours cause you problems, then this is probably where you should end the video. For the rest of you, enjoy a colourful stroll back to Novy. There we have it, close to Tisy in one run and one life. This took around 2 and a bit in-game hours and ended up with some high tier loot. So don't get too attached to it, you can get it all again and often find better loot by mixing up your route.